Let us continue with the topic. Now, we have discussed about the steps in EIA process. Now, see here, this EIA is a cyclic process involving feedback and interaction among the various steps, and the sequence of steps may also vary. Now, this is the very important point that you have to know. Now, EIA is a cyclic process. I'll write down this point, right? Cyclic process involving feedback and interaction among various steps. Now, interaction among various steps. Now, see here, sometimes the sequence of the steps might also change. According to the project evaluation, right? Sometimes the sequence might also change, right? Now I'm writing down the crux points here, right? Now, the next one what we will discuss is environmental appraisal committee. Environmental appraisal committee. Environmental appraisal committee, which is nothing but EAC. Now, what is this environmental appraisal committee? Now, this is a order to elicit multidisciplinary inputs for the appraisal of the projects or the organization. Union government has constituted this environmental appraisal committee to ensure this multidisciplinary input is needed for environmental appraisal for the following projects, right? Now see here, environmental appraisal committee. Now this is an order to elicit multidisciplinary inputs, right? I'm writing down the points here because this is very important. Multidisciplinary inputs for the projects or the for the appraisal of the projects. For the appraisal of the projects. Now, Government of India has set up this appraisal committee in order to look after this inputs for various projects called mining, mega power projects, right? River valley or dam constructions, nuclear power projects, right? I'm giving two examples here. Nuclear power projects, construction of dams, right? This is called river valley projects. Now, infrastructure development projects like your road projects. Now, what this environmental appraisal committee and what this order to elicit, what are the things that it has to elicit in this? Now, the project authorities have to furnish the following documents for the appraisal. Now, what are the following documents? Detailed project report, DPR, right? I think everybody know it, so I'll not write the full form. Next one, it has to fill the questionnaire given by the appraisal committee regarding various things happening in the project, right? The next thing that it has to be done is environmental impact statement has to be drafted. EIA process has to be done along with the environmental management program. Now this environmental impact statement will show you positive and negative impacts on the environment regarding this project, right? So it gives you both positive and negative impacts. Done. Now what is the role of parties in this EIA process? Now till here we have discussed about the government or the organizations doing this EIA. Now what are the parties involvement in this EIA? Now see here, in this environmental impact process, in assessment process, many parties will involve apart from the governmental authorities. Now what are that? The first one, project proponent. Project proponent means the one who is building the project, right? Project proponent. Next one, environmental consultants. All these are important. I'll write down the things. Environmental consultants. Now the third one are state pollution control boards, right? Next, public participation. Already we have discussed about this in environmental impact assessment. Now the agency who looks after EIA. Now all these are the parties play role in EIA, right? Now see here, let us discuss in detail regarding this role of proponents, role of public, role of pollution control boards, and role of EIA agency here. Now what is the role of project proponent? Now project proponent during the project planning stage decides the type of projects, that is whether it is a new establishment or a modernization of the things. Later project proponent needs to prepare detailed project report. Now see here, I will crux down these points. Role of project proponent. Now as we discussed, now this is the organization member. Now this project proponent decides about the projects, whether it is a new one or whether it is a modernization of the project, right? Modernization of the project. Now after deciding about the projects, now these are categorized into category A and category B. Later on this project proponent has to prepare detailed project report regarding this the organization, or sometimes you call it as feasibility report. Feasibility report. Now after preparing this detailed project report, now he will submit the executive summary. Now see here, he will submit the executive summary. Now this executive summary contains the environmental impact assessment report, EIA report, all the impacts. Then this will be available for public domain. Now these are the things that public proponent will do, right? Now see here, the proponent has to approach by taking all these executive summary to the state pollution control board. Now see here, next he has to go to state pollution control board in order to take a certificate called no objection certificate. After holding the public hearing, now see here, this after this public domain happening, now all these conditions happen, right? Now see here, after this public hearing, after giving this NOC clearance, now the proponent submits EIA report to the authorities for the clearance. Appellate authorities, right? Environment appellate authorities, right? Now this NOC happens after taking public opinion. Now this is the chain process. Got the thing? Opinion. Now this is the role of project proponent. Now what will be the role of environmental consultant? Environmental consultant. Now see here, this environmental consultant should be conversant with the existing legal aspects of the procedure, and in order to that he has to obtain the environmental clearance for the proposed project, and also he has to be clear on the points regarding what to take in the environmental impact assessment studies. Now he is the person who has to supply all the relevant materials asked by the state pollution control boards, right? Now this consultant has also to justify the environmental impact assessment report, right? Now see here, I'll crux down this point. Now he has to be very clear on the legal aspects, right? And he has to be ready to get environmental clearance. He has to be in a position to get environmental clearance, right? And he is the person that he has to submit the entire information required for state pollution control boards, right? And see here, and he has to justify the things in EIA report to the committee, right? Now see here, justify the things. Now this is the role of environmental consultant, right? Now see here, and again he has to justify the findings of EIA and environmental management plan during the meeting of expert group. Apart from this justifying the things in EIA, he must also provide environmental management plan. Environmental management plan. Now focus on this, right, which is called EMP. Now what is the next role? The next role of state pollution control boards. I write it as SPCB. Already you are clearly acquainted with environmental degradation with this concepts, with this full forms. Now these state pollution control boards are responsible for assessing the compatibility of the project development and the standards for the project. If the development is in compliance, pollution control boards will release an NOC. Am I right or wrong? Yes. Now this project state pollution control board will look after the project compliance, means they will check each and every aspect as they are under the norms or not according to the nature biodiversity conservation, and then if it is compliant, then they will release an no objection certificate after public hearing, right? They shall also hold public hearing, right? Now before giving this NOC, already we have discussed this in role of public proponent. Now what is the role of public here? They play very important role in this environmental impact assessment. See here, if they give negative comments in this, automatically the project will be stalled, the proposed development will be stopped, right? Now see here, this public will be called for the meeting by an advertisement to review the information in EIA. To review the information in EIA. Upon this you will get an NOC, right? Now this is the thing. Now an important note that you have to get it down. If EIA has to incorporate the data of all the 4 seasons of an year, then it is known as comprehensive EIA. When EIA has data of only one season, then that is called rapid EIA, right? Now see here, when EIA has incorporated the entire data of 4 seasons, then that EIA report is called comprehensive EIA. Now this was once asked in a service commission examination, right? Now if the data contains only one season, now that type of data EIA is called rapid EIA. Right? Now what is the role of impact assessment agency? Role of IAA. Now see here, impact assessment agency. Now it assesses the impacts on the environment, both positive and negative, right? It evaluates and assesses the EIA report, and see here, it gives you the recommendations and conditions that has to be included or implemented in EIA. Now see here, during this process EIA will be responsible for environment monitoring also. Environment monitoring, general things, right? This is important part, so that's why I wrote it on this environment monitoring process, right? Now these are the roles. Now let us discuss the next concept called forms of impact assessment. What are the forms of impact assessment? Now forms of impact assessment. There are various forms for this impact assessment. Now in this we have to consider for our discussion only two things, right? Now this impact assessment form will use it for how to assess the consequences of development that's happening in the nature and your ecosystem disturbances, right? Now for our knowledge, I mean for our examination and for our syllabus, we have to learn about only two forms, right? Now the first one under this is strategic environment assessment. Strategic environment assessment, SEA. Now what does this SEA says? Right? Now this strategic environment assessment refers to systematic analysis of environmental effects of developmental policies, plans, programs and other post actions. Now see here, I'll crux down this point. Now this refers to a systematic analysis of environmental effects of the project that pose to action, right? Now this process is nothing but an extension of EIA decision making process beyond the project level, and major alternatives are still open. Now see here, this is nothing but the continuation to EIA process, right? When there is a still chance for continuation of project, even though when you get a negative report on EIA. Now this SEA is proactive approach for integrating all the environmental conditions, right? Now what is the primary objective of this SEA? Now this procedure, main objective is to ensure adequacy for the suggested safeguards and also to take mid-course corrections. Now see here, to ensure adequacy on suggested safeguards. Now what are the safeguards that has to be taken? It has to ensure that that thing has been happening. Suggested safeguards, and the next one is, it is nothing but to take mid-course corrections. Mid-course corrections, right? This is the thing, that continuation for EIA. Now the procedure adopted for this strategic environment assessment is, the first point that it has to consider is, project authorities are required to report for every 6 months on the progress of the project and the implementation of the project and the suggested safeguards that are taking place, right, while according to clearance of project. For every 6 months you have to report about the adequacy on the suggested safeguards and also about the progress of the project continuation, right? And the next step that this has to taken place is field visits of offices. Now field visits of offices, now these offices, what they have to do, right? Now these are the expert team from the ministry or regional offices to collect the performance data about the development of the projects, so that any difficulties which are encountered, that has to be discussed with the proponent to find out the solutions, right? These field officers are from ministries, and they analyze the data, regarding projects. Now if any difficulty is encountered, now they try to find solutions, right? Now on a whole note, what can you say about the strategic environmental assessment? This is nothing but, after starting off the project, it is about the continuous evaluation of the project, that how the conditions are being implemented, right? Now see here, if the conditions are very poor, now they have to take up this to concern authorities, right? Now last point that they have to check is change in scope of projects, whether to review the earlier decision is called for or not, right? Now they have to review the scope of projects, whether to continue or to stop down, right? Now this is the points that has to be taken done. Now let us see the comparisons between EIA and SEA, then you can get a clear idea of this, right? I will chalk down all the points, differences between EIA and SEA. EIA and SEA, strategic environment assessment. Now what is the first point that you have to discuss here is, EIA is usually reactive to development proposal. Now what about this strategic environment assessment? Is proactive SEA is proactive and informs development, right, and informs proposals, right. Now see here the second point that you have to consider. It assesses the effect of development on the environment. It assesses the effects on environment due to development. Now what SEA does, it assesses the effect on policy, program, project on environment and the development needs. It assesses the effects of policy, plan on environment, right. Means it looks upon the policies what we are undertaking to in order to safeguard the environment, right. Next one, it addresses specific project. Now it addresses the whole areas, regions and sectors of development, right. Now see here, it looks upon the direct impact. Now SEA addresses the cumulative impacts. Cumulative impacts means after upon all these impacts what is the total combined impact happening. Cumulative impact, right. Now next one, it focuses on project specific that we have dealt it. Now it has a narrow perspective. Narrow perspective, see already we have discussed this. If it is a specific project, automatically you look upon only that project. Now this is a wide perspective. Wide perspective, it looks upon the entire regions, right. Now these are the differences between them. Now focus more on this, right. Next one, what are the purposes of EIA? Already you have discussed this, right. The purposes and benefits of EIA, we have discussed this in detail regarding this, right. Let us summarize these points. Now see here, the purpose of EIA is it systematically examine both beneficial and adverse consequences. See here, it looks upon the positive and negative impacts in detail. This is the purpose of EIA. Now see here, to ensure that this positive or negative impact consequences are taken into account during design of the project. Now this is the main purpose, to predict whether there will be significant impacts even after mitigation, right. See here, after knowing these impacts, right, after mitigation, again checking the significant adverse effect. This is nothing but aftermath effects. Aftermath effects. Now reducing the aftermath effects, I'll write down like this, right. Now these are the main things. Now again one more purpose, public participation making is very important purpose in EIA, taking their considerations, their points. Now what are the benefits of this EIA? It reduces the cost and time of project implementation. Cost and time of project implementation. Now see here, it reduces your, it saves your cost during design when you know the impacts very well, right. Now see here, after having this EIA report thoroughly, your acceptance levels will be increased. One more important one, right? And your performance will be increased. Basic things, right? I think you can answer this very easily. Now, what will be the benefits for the public in this EIA? Now see here, after considering their points, there will be improve in their health because there will be no adverse impacts on them, and maintenance of biodiversity, we have discussed this. Decreased resource usage, as all we also discussed this, and improving the skills regarding this environmental impact is also one more benefit, right? Now what are the limitations that you have to learn? Limitations of EIA. Now focus on this. EIA process provides advice to the decision makers. It does not provide a final decision, right? It gives a advice, but it doesn't give you a final decision. Now this is the first best limitation of EIA. The predicted adverse effects on environment might lead to strict conditions, and there might be the closure of the project also due to strict environmental conditions. Right, or strict environment points, your project might get closure, right? Now, this is one more limitation. Now this EIA requires technical and various issues, now which is costly affair. Now the implementation of environmental policy is nothing but a overburdening process. Now see here, this public consultation is very limited, and most of the people doesn't know about this public consultation happenings. How many of you know that when a road project is happening, public consultation is taking place? Now the answer itself says that this is the limitation of EIA. Alright, now thank you.